Hi, my name is Gazwan Kari. I'm a systems consultant for Dell Software. In this video, I'll be upgrading a SharePoint 2010 site collection to SharePoint 2013. I'll be using Migration Suite for SharePoint to accomplish the task. I've launched Migration Suite for SharePoint interface and I switched over to project mode. By default, you land on the home mode. So I switch over to project mode. Reason for that, what I like about project mode is the fact that it keeps track of all the upgrade or migration jobs I create, as well as I have the ability to schedule some of these migration jobs right through the interface under project mode. So it's totally up to you, but I prefer to be under project mode. So let's get started. This is going to be a fairly straightforward process. We're going to click on New from the Job section on the ribbon and kind of go through this wizard. By the end, we'll be done. And there's about 2 or 3 pages in here, so not much going on. So job name is the site, so I'm just gonna, for a good naming convention, so I know exactly what I've upgraded, this is gonna be my AMER site collection upgrade. So if someone else decides to open up the interface, they'll know exactly that I've migrated the AMER site collection. So this is the job type is copy site collection. Other options would be obviously copying a site, list, doing a live compare between source and target sites, running a group of these sites together as a group migration. So this is a copy site collection. Here's the scheduling interface. I'm going to skip it, but you can schedule the migration job right here. Next is my central admin URL. This is my source central admin URL. So this is SharePoint 2010, and then port number is 65535. Let's connect to this environment. Make sure you get a green connection, and let's change the credentials to reflect the account I'm using, Dell Software, and then administrator. I'm going to choose sales content. This is the web application I want to migrate site collections within, so we're going to select that, click next. AMER is the site, select next. Now the target environment, this is SharePoint 2013. So this is my SharePoint 2013 box, and this is 65535 is the port number. Again, connect, make sure you get a green connection, and again change the account to reflect the account you want to use. Obviously, think of it as what you would do natively in SharePoint. If you're creating a site collection in SharePoint, you need an account that has that privilege, and that's the account you plug in here. We're going to be migrating, we're going to be reading from the source, so we need an account that has that kind of permission on the source as well. If it's the same domain, you have a service account that has a higher privilege, I'll just use that one and not worry about anything else. Dell Software Administrator here. And then the target wildcard path is fairly straightforward. This is where you want for the site to be, for the site collection to be provisioned at, which web application. So in my case, it will go to SharePoint 2013. Port 80, I'm not going to worry about putting a port, and then this is sites. So again, the wildcard path criteria is a web application / a managed path, and that's it. And then there are a lot of options to choose from: site copy options, list copy options, advanced options, look and feel options. So you're upgrading a site collection. What do you want to bring across? This is one of the main value adds. We're not going to get you the entire environment across. We are going to be very specific. You're migrating or upgrading a site collection, so that's granular by itself. But even take this an extra layer and say, what specifically from within the site collection do you want to bring across? You may not care about the subsites in the site collection, so there's a checkbox under site copy options to uncheck where it says copy subsites. This way you get the main level over to the target environment. A lot of options, as you can see: copy content types, permissions, web parts, features. A lot of options from a list perspective. You may or may not care about copying the list and libraries. You may care about the lists and libraries, but you may not care about the content the lists and libraries have. It may be that you care for the structure, the columns, the lists, the content types, but you're going to start fresh on SharePoint 2013, or you're just creating another copy of the site on SharePoint 2013. So a lot of reasons why you may want to uncheck certain things in here. Copy views, info path, workflows. There are some advanced options and look and feel options to choose from. For the advanced section, remapping site templates, remapping users if we're going across domains, applying filters, things like that. We'll click next and we'll click finish. This generates a job for us. What we're going to do is we're going to come back to this job. If we didn't schedule it, obviously we didn't schedule this one, and we're going to right click and select actions, run the job or run the group of jobs. We only have one, so we're going to run the job. We need to say why we're doing what we're doing. So this is a MER site collection upgrade. The reason why we do that is later on, again, we're going to get a track record of all the sites we've upgraded or migrated, and we're going to see the history of what we did. So it's good from a project management perspective to see where we stand in the migration, especially if during planning we decided that we're going to phase the migration to different business units or different departments or different site collections, so we can know exactly where we stand in the migration. This is one screen that will tell us all of that information, so we know and we are better prepared for the completion of the entire migration. Anyways, we'll go ahead and click run, and the job is going to kick off. It's going to initiate. It's going to go from 0 to 100 on the initiation side, and then the job will kick off and it will start the, first of all, provisioning of the site collection. That's what you'll see it doing first, and then you'll see that status bar kind of update and fill itself as it creates the site collection. It will be creating all the lists and libraries, and I believe the site collection has one site beneath it, so there's another child site. So once it completes 100%, once the status bar fills up, it's going to empty up again and it's going to do another site altogether. So we'll kind of just sit and watch this as it goes through. Okay, and the job completed. So one ways in which we can determine if everything went okay or not is to right click on the job itself and go to job details. You'll notice there's a couple of tabs at the bottom, details, which basically tells us exactly what we've configured, and we can go in here and review what we've configured. So here's everything we've configured, source, target, and we can view the job, and the history. The history will show us what happened during the job, if there are any warnings or issues or what have you. A status icon will either be this color, which I don't know what is showing on your end, greenish, bluish, or you'll see a solid red. Solid red, you should not panic. It means there may be some warnings. There may be a user who left your organization that sits under site permissions and we were not able to find a SID account match on the target. So we're going to throw a warning. So don't be alarmed if you see a red icon in here. So we're going to click view the log, and here's the log, and it'll show us everything that went through. Again, you can filter by warning, successful information, what failed. So you want to look for what failed. Warnings are just warnings, good to know, go read what's going on, but I'll be looking for failed items and things like that. Hopefully you won't see any, and you can come in here and kind of read everything through here, and then you can select these check boxes and save and kind of share with others. Anyway, so this is done. So let's switch over to SharePoint and take a look at what we wanted to see. So let's first go to the source. Our source is Sales America Home, and Sales America Home has a couple of sites, the site collection itself, and then new leads beneath that site collection. And new leads has a whole bunch of web parts that are connected to a whole bunch of lists and libraries on this site. So let's provision, or let's take a look at the target site, which is what you wanted to see. So SharePoint, SharePoint 2013 sites, AMER, and here is the target. So this is the main site, SharePoint 2013, and if we go into site content in here, we'll see new leads. This is the subsite. The subsite has same picture along with the same exact web parts. Everything will be presented to us in here. We've got documents, shared documents, and if I go into settings and if I go into site settings, I'll be able to see the permissions. So we've obviously migrated the permissions across. These all came across with no issue, and so you can kind of go back and forth and kind of compare the results, but we know from the log file that everything was fine. So you can do that until you get comfortable with the product, and then you won't be doing that anymore. You'll just kind of confirm with the log file itself. So this was a migration or an upgrade of a SharePoint 2010 site collection over to SharePoint 2013. If you haven't already done so, I suggest you guys download the product from the Dell Software website and get a trial going on your end and test your own upgrades of site collections from 2010 to SharePoint 2013. Thanks for listening in.